Okay, let's jump right in and really unpack last night's NBA playoff action.
Yeah, quite a night.
We had two pretty different games, really painting a picture of how varied the postseason can get. We saw the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Miami Heat, and then the Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets.
Two very distinct matchups, for sure.
So our plan today is to, dig into what actually happened. Look at the key moments, the strategies, using what we've got here to understand the scores and maybe more importantly, what it all means for these teams moving forward.
And what really stands out right away is just how different those two games were. One was just, well, sheer dominance,
Right.
and the other was a real down-to-the-wire battle. Kind of shows the different ways teams can try and win in the playoffs.
Let's start with that first one then, the dominant one. Cleveland Cavaliers absolutely dismantling the Miami Heat.
Yeah, 138 to 83. That scoreline says it all, really.
And it wasn't just the win, it was the 4-0 sweep. Feels like Cleveland just put everyone on notice, didn't they?
Absolutely. I mean, winning like that in the playoffs, it's more than just a win, it's a statement. Looking at the details we have, their balance, offense, and defense was just on point.
A 55-point difference. That's
Yep.
that's huge. It shows a massive gap in how they played that night.
It really does.
So how did Cleveland build up that massive lead? Let's break it down. First quarter, they just exploded, right? 43 points, and they held Miami to just 17.
Yeah, talk about an opening statement.
Their shooting was incredibly efficient, and the defense, it just gave Miami no space at all, forced a lot of turnovers early.
That first quarter really set the tone. It was all about Cleveland's pressure. Their pick-and-roll defense, for instance, seemed to really throw Miami off their game.
Yeah, force them into bad spots.
Exactly. Uncomfortable shots, those early turnovers. And Cleveland just capitalized, getting easy points in transition.
And they didn't let up in the second, did they? Added another 29 points while Miami only managed 16.
Nope, foot stayed firmly on the gas.
Miami just couldn't find any way through that defense, and, well, their shots weren't dropping either.
Right. And what was really impressive, I thought, was Cleveland's bench. They came in and kept that same level of intensity. No drop-off.
That's huge in the playoffs. When your second unit can actually extend the lead, that shows real depth, shows the coaching staff has everyone locked in.
Definitely. Miami, meanwhile, just couldn't find anyone to consistently score, which, only made their defensive problems worse.
Okay, third quarter, Miami showed a little bit of life, put up 30 points. You thought, maybe, just maybe.
You did for a second. But Cleveland just answered right back with 39 of their own. They never really let Miami think they had a chance.
It felt like every time Miami made even a small push, someone from Cleveland, a key player, just stepped up and shut it down.
That's the mark of a really focused team, isn't it? They don't get rattled, they don't get complacent, they see the opponent trying to get back in, and they just respond with even more intensity, push back hard.
And then the fourth, Cleveland just cruised, 27-20 quarter, sealing that massive 55-point win. It looked like a complete team performance, tactically spot on. Miami just had nothing left.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to admit a team was simply outplayed, outmatched on the night. Miami has talent, no doubt, but Cleveland executed their plan flawlessly in this game and really throughout the whole series. That final score reflects that gap.
Okay, let's switch gears then. Pivot to the other game, which was completely different. Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets, much, much tighter.
Oh, yeah. Night and day compared to the Cavs game.
Warriors won it 109 to 106. Takes them to a 3-1 lead in the series. Feels like the big takeaway here is Golden State showing they can win the close ones, the gritty ones. Puts them in a great spot.
Precisely. It wasn't about blowing the doors off. It was about managing a tough opponent, making plays under pressure. That ability to win tight playoff games, well, that's often what separates championship teams from the rest.
Looking at the first quarter breakdown, Warriors started well, 28-26. Defense looked pretty tight. Key guys hit some shots early.
Right, but Houston hung right in there, didn't they?
They did, kept pace. It set the tone for, a really competitive game right from the start.
That first quarter showed Houston wasn't just going to roll over. They matched Golden State pretty much bucket for bucket early on. Showed they were determined to try and even things up. Saw big players on both sides making tough shots. High-level stuff.
Then the second quarter, Houston kind of flipped the script. They really picked up the intensity, outscored Golden State 31-22, took the lead.
Yeah, they definitely turned it up.
Looked like they were getting to the rim more, playing more aggressively, and they started hitting shots. The percentage went up. Golden State's defense seemed to struggle a bit there, but crucially, their offense kept them close enough, didn't let Houston run away with it.
Yeah, Houston probably made some good adjustments there, maybe found some matchups they liked, exploited some weaknesses. But for Golden State, Even when the defense wasn't perfect, having that firepower, that ability to still score, kept the game within reach. That's key.
But then, the famous third quarter Warriors, momentum swung back. Golden State took control, 32-23 in that quarter.
It felt like they definitely tweaked some things, didn't it?
Yeah, looked like strategic adjustments, especially on defense.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Houston found it much harder to get good looks.
Exactly. That points to good coaching, good in-game reads. Maybe they switched up assignments. Maybe they put more pressure on the ball. Whatever it was, it disrupted Houston's rhythm.
Threw them off.
Yeah. And Houston tried to counter, but Golden State's defense just held strong. Maybe they started, doubling Houston's main scorer more often, forcing someone else to make plays.
Could be. And then that fourth quarter, wow, real nail-biter stuff. 27-26, Warriors just edging it.
Came right down to the last few possessions.
And that's where Golden State's experience maybe showed. They looked composed, made the big plays when they absolutely had to, got those vital stops on defense to hold off Houston's final surge.
Absolutely. In those crunch time moments, every single play gets magnified. Golden State's been there before, right? That experience counts for a lot.
Yeah.
They executed their sets, hit timely shots, and crucially got the rebounds and stops they needed to seal it.
So yeah, 2 games, 2 totally different stories. Cleveland cruises to a sweep. Golden State grinds out a tough win. What does this tell us about the bigger playoff picture?
Well, looking at our info, it really emphasizes that Cleveland's performance marks them as a really serious contender. A sweep like that dominant, it sends a message.
For sure.
And Golden State's win, while maybe not as flashy, underlines their toughness, their ability to win those close, high-pressure games. That's vital for a deep playoff run. And being up 3-1 is obviously a huge advantage.
It really does highlight, like we saw just last night, how unpredictable playoff basketball can be. You get these blowouts right alongside these down-to-the-wire thrillers.
Definitely. It's a great reminder that every game, every series kind of writes its own story. And seeing these 2 contrasting wins really shows there isn't just one way to succeed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. So let's try and wrap this up. We've dug into these 2 pretty electrifying playoff games. Cleveland's sweep over Miami, Golden State's tight win against Houston. We've looked at the key moments, the tactical shifts, the outcomes, based on what we've seen here.
Yeah, and maybe something for you to think about as you digest these results is what these 2 very different wins say about the styles that work in the NBA playoffs. You've got Cleveland's approach, balanced offense, suffocating defense leading to dominance, versus Golden State's way, grinding out a tough win when things get tight. How might these different styles hold up as the competition gets tougher down the road to the finals?
Good question.
Yeah, like what does it say about team building? Offense versus defense priorities, and how much does momentum really swing things in a 7-game series? Lots to consider there.